Hello and welcome to another wonderful episode of Iron Port. This program is proudly brought to you by Serene Insurance, Goil Company Limited, the Ghana Revenue Authority, Ghana Link, who are the operators of the Integrated Customs Management System, and Meridian Port Services. This show is also powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Our proud media partner is the Business and Financial Times. This week, we are discussing the Guided Trade Initiative as well as the Ghana National Policy on AFCFTA, which was launched recently. We are in the studios Dodi Seidu, who is AFCFTA consultant with the Frontier Markets Advisors, as well as Louis Yao Afo, who is a trade strategist with the APN Group. Let's take a listen.
So the AFCFTA Guided Initiative is a resolution of the recent Ministerial Council meeting that was held in Accra to, number one, pilot all the AFCFTA discussions, policies, documents, and process that has been developed over the past 4 to 5 years since the AFCFTA agreement was established in March 2018. So as you are aware, over these years, we've been talking a lot about the AFCFTA agreement. There's been a lot of discussions, negotiations, looking at the agreement itself, the protocols, as well as the annexes. For example, on the trading goods protocol, there was discussion, or there have been long discussions on the rules of origin, which we stand about almost 87 to 90% agreement on. There's been, annexes on trade facilitation, on non-tariff barriers. There's been exchanges of schedules of tariff concessions. So basically, all the discussions has gone on for quite a while. And for many people in the private sector or any AFCFTA enthusiast, we've been interested in seeing trade come to pass. So in the last ministerial meeting, there was an agreement to initiate the pilot of the trade, which is now called the Guided Trade Initiative, to have 7 countries out of 36 countries in Africa that applied or showed interest to actually undertake the process of trading under the AFCFTA. So basically, it's a pilot phase to test all the negotiations, all the discussions, the documents, and all that has been done preceding now with regards to the AFCFTA, so that countries can actually, trade.
All right, let me come to Mr. Louis Aful and find out from you whether you are abreast with this Guided Trade Initiative and what you make of it.
I think that, Dodi shared, the truth is we should have gone far beyond this. Fortunately, I don't know whether it's the part of Africa, but we have dragged our feet, especially with the commitment. We have something we call the trade efforts. So under the Continental Free Trade, there should have been what we call the efforts by the party states,
right,
to adhere to the commitments, the tariff schedule they themselves have come out with. But unfortunately, everybody is dragging the feet because one will say that my customs cooperation and management is not ready. Some are saying I've not gazetted my tariffs, like it happened on the first day of trading 2021, when the goods left Ghana shores to South Africa. South Africa did not clear because they said they had not gazetted at the time.
Oh, I thought they said they were not aware.
They said they've not gazetted it.
Okay.
So there was this burden on the Secretary General that we are giving you this job. It's almost 2 years. What are you doing?
And there seemed to be no show.
No show. Then they said, look, I am a referee. You have given me the job. I'm coming back to you. You are not committed. So therefore, in order for us to steer ahead something like this, let us start somewhere with countries that are ready to go. In fact, and it was also based on the fact that if the rules of origin were not even ready as at this time, they would have gone with whatever percentage.
Right.
And so coming from the backdrop of the rules of origin that is available now about 87.7 or whatever it is, they are determined to go. But you see, it's just like having a single currency. You wouldn't have all people onboarding.
Yeah.
So you have to have anchor countries. So let me use these 7 as anchor countries who want to test the waters. Because even if you look at the goods, you have ceramics. So the ceramics will leave Ghana to, I think, either Tanzania or somewhere. Then the air-conditioned parts will leave from Egypt to Ghana, because Ghana, we have a company that assembles the air condition.
Right. I can't export after. And so for me, it doesn't mean anything to me as a trader or as an exporter or importer out there. Don't you agree?
Well, I don't agree, and I'll just shed some light on that. We must understand that countries have internal processes that they must go through. They have processes where they need to gazette, they need to ratify, they need to change forms. For example, as we speak, just at the beginning of this year, the harmonized commodity system, which is used by customs across the world, has been updated to 2022. So, which means that new products that didn't exist in 2017, especially technological products that didn't exist in 2017, must have been included. And so when you import those products into Ghana or export those products into that country, the customs officer must be able to find the appropriate classification for that product and apply the value that must be done. So I agree, if you are a business person in a hurry, then you will say that yes, there's a delay. But as long as, for me, I don't see the countries deliberately delaying, because so far, if you observe across the continent, you see that people didn't ratify at the same time. That is one. And two, you see that countries that are really minded about finding markets beyond their regions, because most of trade in Africa, intra-Africa trade, is along regional lines. People are looking for markets outside their region. So countries in West Africa are looking for markets in East Africa, in Central Africa, in Northern Africa, and vice versa for those countries. So for me, I see the process. The Guided Initiative is yet one signal that African ministers of trade are really committed to seeing trade come to pass.
But the concerns are that what has dragged for a long time is that if you take the protocols, the reason why they have kept long is that you have to submit those tariff concessions for it to be verified, internally. You just don't submit it, and once you submit it to the secretariat, they approve it. No. So a lot of them submitted it all right. It went to a lot of technical verification to see that, yes, indeed, the list that you have submitted that you say you want to have concessions for it, it really meets the modalities that we're expecting. And so we agree that kept some time, a long time. So yes, if you take ECOWAS like this, ECOWAS had about 6,000 goods. So if you take the 6,000 goods, then you go into the goods, the 90% category. So we take 90% of the 6,000. We're good to go. Then if you take the 7% of the 95,000, the 6,000 goods, then you take the 3% of the 6,000 goods. So ECOWAS, yes. But what about the other regions? If you look at the tariff concessions, countries like Seychelles, they went alone. Other countries went alone. They didn't go as a block. So the crux of the matter has been that whilst the likes of Dodi are praying that, defending that legality must go, other countries are also deliberately trying to be on the hedge, as if that the commitment that they are supposed to submit, they don't want to bring it for final verification, or either they are waiting, because you should know that when you change anything, now that we have the e-tariff, if any time you change anything per the schedules you have to write to the secretariat. Okay, you have to write to the secretary that I, Monarch Country A, I have changed this my tariff concession, so whatever it is. So correct it, because forget not that right now we are also using the Africa Trade Observatory. Every country is supposed to publish your list and everything there, so you have to be transparent. So therefore, we cannot say, it was difficult in those days, as remember, when every country was holding its list of 7%, its list of 3%. We have crossed that stage now. A thing is published, like the way we have the e-tariff. It's published at the African Trade Observatory. So what is keeping you internally from actually submitting those? And I remember one of the times I visited the Secretary General, he explained the frustration he's facing. He didn't hide it. He said, I'm frustrated. And I asked him, why are you frustrated? He said, look, the frustration I'm having is that I am supposed to be a referee. I have done my job. But put the implementation framework at your ports, your customs. Put the legal framework. You are not doing it. Like you rightly said, Ghana and Co are doing, but the other countries are not making commitment to the legal framework at the customs, because that is the most one of the important places. The borders.
That's what I'm coming to.
So it is the fact that yes, nobody's gifting them time frame, but for how long?
Let's go to the after policy framework and action plan. Louis, yes, it was launched recently in here in Accra. I just want to find out from you what that seeks to achieve.
I think that if you look at the architecture of the after, they realized that they will come to a point where implementation was going to be difficult without the party states themselves.
Right.
Therefore, at one of their meetings last year or last 2 years, they suggested in one of their minutes, because it was not shareable, that every country should, every member state should establish an after coordinating office. So that after coordinating office will be a liaison between the citizens, the business people, and then after secretariat. Remember, the after secretariat is a diplomatic status. It does not necessarily serve the direct interests of Ghana. So sometimes I appeal to companies, if you are writing to after secretary and are not responding, don't blame them.
Right.
Because you are supposed to go through the after coordinating office.
Yeah.
Now, the after coordinating office is supposed to strategize about how to implement what we call the BIAT. The BIAT is like if you are supposed to rate.
What's the full meaning of the BIAT?
Boosting Intra-African trade. They all sat
boosting
down together.
Intra-African trade.
That's why I get angry. Excuse me, that you all agree on something, and then when it comes to implementation, everybody seems to be quiet on the other. They all agree that let us use indicators, saying if I don't see this, that ABC being implemented in your country, then you are not following the course. So they said let us use something called BIAT, boosting Intra-African trade, and under the BIAT, let us pick certain classifications. So they chose certain classifications, and then some countries said, oh, we are not going to sit down and wait. We are going to establish what we call our office, and then also come out with policies in relation to the BIAT.
Right.
So the first process Ghana did was that you first have to have technical experts. In those days, when before CFTA became after, they were dealing with government and then private sector in terms of negotiations. So you can, let's say, they will invite Mr. Seidu, this is his technical expertise, then he will be going around together with the CFTA office and then the Ministry of Trade, without necessarily representing the country.
Okay.
Now, in phases 2, 3, they said no. They are no more going to allow individuals to go. So what they have to do, they should go through their Ministries of Trade technical working groups. So Ghana here, Ministry of Trade established technical working groups. Then the technical working groups, they came out with policy, framework, also, and then it was forwarded by what the President, His Excellency, established what we call the Interministerial Committee. So that Interministerial Committee met, forwarded what the technical working groups worked on, and then presented to Cabinet. So after it was presented to Cabinet, it was now launched as a policy to guide the fulfillment of the BIAT. So that if Ghana is veering off, we all consider, oh no, you said you were implementing this, that. So this is what. So the policy is just explaining our position, how we want to really implement the CFTA to the best of Ghanaians. And it's important it involves the private sector as its own work. So if you look at the policy, which we won't go there now, private sector has been invited. So this is the policy. They call it national after policy.
Yeah. Okay. Let me come to you, Mr. Seidu, and find out how far we've come in terms of our quest to eliminate trade barriers to continental trade.
So when it comes to the barriers, we have or the effort that has been put in place in the context of the AFCFTA. One is in the establishment of the AFCFTA Annex, I think Annex 5, on non-tariff barriers.
Right.
So how it intends to deal with non-tariff barriers, one, is to be able to, number one, identify them, categorize them, report them, and also create a monitoring mechanism.
Right.
So identifying them basically means being able to come up with what are the frequently experienced non-tariff barriers. So be it government policies, be it customs procedures, be it even immigration policies, be it technical barriers to trade, be it sanitary and phytosanitary measures. All of these have been identified as non-tariff barriers.
Iron Port returns after this break.
Every now and again, Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goil Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goil Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goil Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goil Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, streetlights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance motor policy. Currently, my goods are on the high seas, covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the projects and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Now welcome back from the break. News and activities happening within the port and maritime industry next.
Takrade port, ye bank 3 points pa eye babia offshore ye 2 crude oil ni nyina. Etu hwe ye vision ye say to be a world class port, the dominant oil and gas services hub of West Africa. Ship ahudua ekobebia ye 2 oil ye talo ye nai omo drele crude oil ni nyina no. Yaha ene ye mo broni efre no offshore support services. Ship ekoho ensu omo hia enema omo de beye adwuma ni nyina ye ne ben. Enti omo baha na ya assist omo manya sane mani nyina. Enti ye friend offshore support services. vessel biya ebeba abefa bauxite anase manganese anase edi clinker anase gypsum ebeba no 60 meters and below ubetimi abatakra the port, you know, enti eno ye dry bulk terminal and a science war liquid bulk terminal near baby petroleum products, petrol, diesel, LPG, heavy fuel. Say amount for craba your Nejinabia, and as a liquid bulk terminal, your 5 dedicated arms for petrol, diesel, LPG, bitumen, and a heavy fuel. Ntiano no sono ye 2 emane call 14 meters deep. Na dry bulk terminal na make 16 meters deep no. The whole West Africa. Takrade yena yediano esopa.
The Minister for Health, GAQHI, has commended the management of the International Maritime Hospital for the investment they have made in the country's health sector, as well as their contribution to ensuring access to quality, essential healthcare services in the country is achieved. Speaking at a day about to climax the 5th anniversary celebration of the hospital, he said government was doing everything within its capacity to give existing health facilities in the country a facelift as part of its quota to promote quality healthcare in the country.
There has been a lot of country-led initiatives in the past few years towards building a robust healthcare system that provides quality, accessible, affordable healthcare services to the people of our country. These include the National Health Policy, which sets out the policy measures which will lead to actions promoting healthy lifestyles and environment.
The Minister for Transport, GAQHI, highlighted some of the expectations of the hospital, which is poised for excellence in healthcare delivery.
As more and more people access your services, please ensure that there is easy, fast, and open access to your services at all hours of the day and night, since your duties are your cherished partners.
The board chairman of GAQHI, Isaac Osei, called on the management of the hospital to ensure that staff are trained and mentored to give up their best.
I believe that a facility like this requires a very strong routine and periodic maintenance plan. I would suggest that as part of the plan, IMaH management should engage some of the proprietary suppliers so that our staff can be trained at least for routine maintenance activities.
The Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Michael Luguji, said it was his expectation that IMaH will be a destination for medical tourism.
Anybody who visited this hospital told us, look, you have the best in the world. So what you need now is the service. We want to see tomorrow all the medical tourism to India, to South Africa, to China, to US and Europe coming to Tema, to IMaH.
The CEO of International Maritime Hospital said the facility has seen significant increase in its scope of services from 8 specialized services to 22 cardiac catheterizations.
The hospital management has also initiated a plan of making IMaH a specialized teaching hospital. The process was initiated with the Ghana College of Surgeons and Physicians. The OPD pharmacy of IMaH has also been upgraded to a community pharmacy. I'm delighted to inform you that the dialysis unit of IMaH has been upgraded from 5 dialysis machines to 12 ultra modern dialysis machines. We declare that down.
The leading oil marketing company in Ghana, Goil, has donated an amount of 150,000 Ghana cedis to the management of the Osu Children's Home. The donation follows a heartbreaking request from the orphanage regarding some challenges they are grappling with, including the inability to pay electricity bills, which has resulted in the children sleeping in darkness. Presenting the check to the orphanage, the managing director and group CEO of Goil, Kwame Osei-Prempeh, said the donation, which forms part of the company's corporate social responsibility, is geared towards supporting the upkeep of the children at the orphanage. He said 100,000 Ghana cedis is expected to help the management in the running of the home, while the 50,000 Ghana cedis is expected to help resettle their electricity bills to the Electricity Company of Ghana. He said there was a need for children in the orphanage to have quality life.
I urge all Ghanaians to turn to this institution and help. It's our own country. They are our children, our grandchildren, and they need our help. So you must do something to help them.
The deputy director at the Osu Children's Home, Yvonne Norman, expressed the orphanage's appreciation to Goil and said the donation will go a long way to mitigate the challenges affecting the orphanage.
We want to say a big thank you and that God should richly bless you. And I know this is the beginning of a relationship. For the electricity, with this one, we will even be sorted for quite some time.
Taiwanese shipping firm Evergreen Marine has taken delivery of the second 24,000 TEU container ship from Hundong Zhonghua Shipbuilding, a subsidiary of China State Shipbuilding Corporation. The ultra-large box ship named Ever Area is a sister ship to Ever Elot, which was delivered to the container shipping company in June this year. Both box ships have been flagged in Panama. The demand for container ships is expected to increase by 10% as of 2023 as ship owners move forward for the implementation of the IMO 2023 regulations, BIMCO estimates. Meeting energy efficiency existing ship index and achieving a good carbon intensity indicator rating is a hot topic in the industry that is likely to impact the demand and supply balance moving forward. It's now time for the schedules of vessels at the port, those at anchorage and those expected in the coming week, plus the Bank of Ghana exchange rate you need to know to clear your goods from the port. We have your comments next. Ishmael from Tema says, please ask your guest what is the level of trust amongst the countries. I believe the delay in the continental trade is attributable to lack of trust amongst the states. Well, Ishmael, our guests say they don't see any issue of lack of trust amongst the states due to the fact that all the processes are being negotiated. Ohima from Tema is asking, why don't we channel these efforts rather to lobbying state parties to gazette their tariffs so that a ceremonial initiative like the guided trade tour won't be necessary? I think the rhetorics are becoming too much. Well, Ohima, Dodi Seidu says there is gradual progress and that the principle of the AFCFTA is not to force countries to ratify or to become member parties. Horima again is asking how many of the 7 countries participating in the guided trade initiative have gazetted their tariffs and made it available to their customs. Well, Horima, according to Dodi Seidu, all of them have gazetted their tariffs. Up next is Word of the Day. The cost, insurance and freight CIF price is the price of a good delivered at the frontier of the importing country or the price of a service delivered to a resident before the payment of any import duties or other taxes on imports or trade and transport margins within the country. This is where we draw the curtain on this week's episode of Iron Pot. Thank you for watching and thanks to the entire crew. Join us same time next week.